Pod zero now.
Yes. So how to open Dragonfly and Dragonfly files. Click Dragonfly.
Double click.
Double click Dragonfly. We've all had about 4 beers in after at this point. Part 0 is after hours Dragonfly. Dragonfly after dark.
Start from the end.
So we've opened Dragonfly. And now we want to open data. So file. Load, import image files. Okay, let's start over. When you're loading files into Dragonfly, we're going to do several types. So we're going to do the first kind that you would get from a reconstruction of your CT scan. So you either have a reconstruction or you have a stitch. You have a stitch if you have multiple segments. So the kind of files we can open are TIFF stacks, TXM files, which are reconstructed data, raw data, which we're not going to do, and ORS objects and ORS sessions. Those are the different kinds of files we can open. Most of these you just drag into Dragonfly. So let's do just one of these segments. So this is a TXM file. A reconstruction is a TXM and so is a stitch, but we'll do this one segment because it's smaller. So click, drag.
Dragonfly.
Yes. Wow. Okay. With this TXM file, you don't do anything here except click next. Now you have all of these options. On the right, it shows you how big your file size is and how what the dimensions are. And the first thing I do is I rename these incredibly long file names to something less terrible, like just the fish and just the resolution. And then I click invert x-axis and I add invert here. So when you CT scan something, it actually gives you a mirror image of that in the reconstructed data. So if you invert it on the x-axis, you will have your left side will really be your left side and the right side will really be the right. If you don't, it won't. We prefer to do that. So that's the first thing you do. Because this is this file type, it already tells you what the image spacing is from the data. So it already knows it's 2.08 microns. The only other thing you have to do is open crop image. It gives you this. Down here, you can go through the slices. It's very dark. Strangely dark, but doesn't matter. Go through the slices and you're going to change your data in 2 ways. You're going to pull in this box and crop as much as you can without cutting off parts. So you would go through the slices looking at the left side, go through the slices looking at the right, the top, and the bottom. For example, in the bottom, whoop, we need to extend that to there. And then we'll keep watching, probably extend a little bit more. And then looks like we're actually okay with the rest. I could come in on the right. You could spend a lot of time here and make sure your file is as small as it can be. Now, Another thing you can do is chop off the ends. So let's say I don't really want this bit. I want to change this to 233, which is what this is. Click over here, and then I'm going to leave the rest. But you can also chop off this bit if you want to go to here and put that value in this box. You would chop that off. Okay, click OK and click Finish. That's how you import TXM data. It will take a while and load. Meanwhile, pause this. All right, how to import a TIFF stack. So this way you can either open file, import image files, add, and find it that way, or you open the folder beforehand and drag them in. So a TIFF stack, for example, this one's large. It's even larger. Let's do this one. So you would select them all, hit open. So in this case, when you do images, you get the images in a list here, and you can preview them, and you can tell or see that the first, I don't know how many, you'll have to find out, are blank. So that's one way you can already crop your data. So find where the data starts. There, just give it a little wiggle room. Scroll up, shift click to select these, and then you can hit remove. So that will lower the size of your import. Preview again, go all the way to the bottom. When you get to the bottom, you'll see that they're probably also blank. You can just search for when the data starts there. Starts down here, the bottom. So just find there, little wiggle room again, shift and remove. Now you're ready, so you hit next. Okay, so pause. Weirdly, the size is already in here, but it could be because this TIFF stack is from Dragonfly. Usually it's not. So usually you would get, this would say 1, this would say 1, this would say 1, usually. So when you have your file size, or when you have your resolution in your file name, you change the image spacing to that, and 10 microns is 0.010. I mean, you know, how precise you are depends on what you're doing. It doesn't. I would just do 10 instead of 10 point.
So the unit there for some reasons millimeters.
Yeah.
And can't be changed.
I don't think it can be changed. It's the same in a mirror. 0.101, 0.0101. So usually we're doing something like 2 microns. So that's of course 0.002, right? And these have to be the same. If you make a mistake, it'll be weird. Actually don't know what happens. In this case, I don't invert because this is from a volume. This is actually a segmentation. So it's from something that was inverted already. So I'm going to invert it. Here's your pixel size, your total size. Not pixel size, your total size of your file. You can crop, but it's probably been cropped to its maximum. Yeah. So this has been carefully cropped to its maximum. You can't crop this any further. Okay. Same thing, finish, this will show up. So this is just the Hyopalatine arch and it's 50 gigabytes. So what that means is it was oblique as well. That and also a very, very large file to begin with. Yeah. Let's see. So Hyopalatine arch is loaded. Now you can mess with it just like it's its own volume, because it is. I mean, you can keep loading things over here. This particular, I must have misread it. The Hyopalatine arch here is only 8 gigabytes. Something else was 50. That's weird.
Really entire head.
Yeah, maybe. So to now load a session, so we're in a session. To load a different session, I would turn this off. You can have 2 instances of Dragonfly running at a time, and that's it.
Are you recording this?
I think. Yes. So you can only have 2 running at a time. So let's see if we can't open one that's not gigantic. This one's all right. This one's even better. Let's just do that one. So double click a session file to open it, and it will open an instance of Dragonfly. You don't drag them in. It's just like opening a program. So a session file is the same as opening Dragonfly as a program, but it will open that session. So it's not data in that sense. You can extract data from a session file, but it itself is not any kind of data.
Still have the option to crop anything.
No.
Okay. It goes straight into that upper right panel.
Yeah. So this was the Ophictes lateral line session. So now you have the data here, you have the segmentations, you have whatever you had when you saved it and closed it. And you can just do everything as you were when you saved it last. But when you save and open these session files, it doesn't keep any type of 3D settings. So if you had made a really nice preset, made it look really nice over here with the LUT, and you close it, that's gone. You have to redo that.
Let's just save it again.
Even if you save it, you close it, it's gone. So anytime you render it a certain way, so let's say I used soybean. Yeah, I don't know why it's soybean, but this is soybean. And I really liked my soybean. Like, okay, maybe I didn't like this soybean because this is a preset, but I went over here and I changed all this and it was perfect. Maybe it took me like 2 hours. I changed things here. There you go. There's the soybean itself.
What is that? Some padding.
Yeah. And you thought, yeah, I really like this. Maybe we want something that's not soybean. Oh. Anyway. If you saved right now, closed it, reopened, this would be back to the original grayscale with nothing changed. Like just you would lose all of those changes. You can't save them.
So if you do spend 2 hours modifying that and you like it, how do you save that as a presets? Is that something that you've done clearly with all your AKB bones?
So over here it says more, and down here it says save LUT as. Give it a name. You're the author. And if you want, I'm not sure how this changes this based on your license, but it's either current user or all users. I'm not sure.
Because I only have a single license.
Or it could be all users on the computer, because you can select whether you want it to be for a specific user on a computer, or if you have multiple users. You can actually add the program to all of them. And so that must then allow you to add it to multiple users on that.
But then
So-
you only have it in the preset. So if you load, you choose that in your presets and then it shows up, but not before that.
Yeah, so let's say, okay. And the way to change these colors, if you want to change them, you click this little tab and then you have to click down here. And that changes it. Click this tab, click down here. Changes it. So let's say I wanted to save this one. Yeah, I hope this doesn't.
Ooh, that looks fancy. I definitely want that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm.
So let's save this as, and we'll know it's mine. We'll experiment. Save it as fancy color. So- Then we can test. I think we have to save now. Save session as, and I'm saving session as because I don't want to overwrite this original session, because that's not mine. Color test. That should be quick. Let's close the other session. Where is it? Okay, it's already saved. So let's test our colors. So we just saved it. It had that color. Now you'll see when you open it what happens.
So waiting is an important quality of patience. That you need to have.
All right, here's our fish. But can we go back? Is it called color test?
Fancy.
Fancy,
Fancy.
fancy colors.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's because the threshold always goes back to normal.
Yeah, that looks like one out of Terminator. Right.
But
Uh,
it only exists over here. And it doesn't exist over here. don't remember how I got mine over here. How is it better? I don't know, but clearly I knew how to do it several times because I have one for Deniceps, one for Heterandria, one for Macrobopsis, two for Macrobopsis, Hypsilobarbus. So how do I get? Okay, so actually there's a save as button over here.
Because that's for 3D specifically, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Right, that's fine.
Yeah, so if you want to save this as a 3D preset, you have to go over here. And then we would save it, fancy colors. And I think in that case, let's cancel. I add this, there's my thing. It will also save things like if you used lighting or not. So if I put lighting on here, which only applies to 3D, then I would save it as this. Yeah. Now it should come up over here. And then it would have my lighting settings and everything that applies to 3D also associated with it. So. Okay, there is a button over here called high quality. I mean, just speaks for itself, really.
Turbo. You know?
Yeah, when you want to,
Yeah, look.
at the end of the movie, when everything's really heating up and you have to take it into high gear to beat the guy.
I call it.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
We just in the dragon, drag in
Yeah.
stage. Now
Yeah,
we have
the-
fly, dragonfly.
Okay,
I'm
last
sure
but not least.
it's from that, drag and fly,
Oh,
because it makes no sense to have an insect. The name,
yeah. Okay, this isn't, let's see, let me put it on something else.
just great.
Yeah. We have things over here called solidity, diffuse, specular, shininess.
That's super.
Yeah, this is a London scan as well.
No.
Yeah.
No, this is UNZ.
Okay, this is a UMMZ scan. It's not us, that's all.
It's Randy,
Randy,
Ramon rather.
Ramon.
Yeah.
Shh, we're recording. Nothing about crabs. This is going on YouTube. All right. You guys. So in my experience, I'm gonna have to just cut this. In my experience, these things over here are unpredictable and you play with them depending on your scan. Sometimes pumping diffuse up all the way will make it look amazing, and sometimes it makes it look like this. I can't predict it. You just have to try for each scan. You can get some really nice setting. Sometimes the specular setting is nice and sometimes it looks like that. So it's just it just depends on the scan. But play with that. Only cubic interpolation and high quality are the buttons I would use. The rest of them all suck. That's the end of the story there. Unsharp, I don't even know why they have that. That's like if you used Photoshop's unsharp mask, but at like 500%, it just is overkill. Yeah. And what else? What else? Right, I forgot to talk about something in the segmentation phase, so maybe I throw it in here. Yeah, forgot to talk about a huge thing. Oh well. Long story short, if you have I guess his lateral line is not segmentation. Surely it is. Oh. No? Yeah. All right, let's say you had. Okay, you know how you sometimes want the Hyopalatine arch with the premaxilla or without? You want to have some suite of structures with all of the structures and some without a couple of different things. You can add and subtract segments from each other. So let's say I had the Hyopalatine arch as a segmentation, and then I made the premaxilla a separate segmentation. I could select, let's say that was the premaxilla and that was the Hyopalatine arch. I would say I want, all I have is A minus B. So if you wanted to remove something, B, you make sure that's the second thing you click. Yeah, it shows A up here and B up here. And then you would say, I want A minus B. That creates a new segmentation that is whatever A is with B removed from it.
Can A also be two segmentations that you select
You can-
simultaneously
You can combine them.
and
as
then
well.
subtract a third one from the two?
Mhm. So that's union. So if you wanted to combine them, you would, you want to combine something, create union, and that creates a new segmentation that is both of those things. And then you select a third thing to remove it from that union. Also intersection, it would take two segmentations and create a segmentation that includes only where they intersect. You can also remove intersected and keep intersected. So that these operations only appear if you select two segmentations. Otherwise, these options don't exist. They go away once you have only one selected. That's a lot of Dragonfly is like, you don't have options to do something until you select the right thing. And then that option appears. It's kind of annoying, but. Yeah.
Bye. That was
Bye.
wonderful, Amanda.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
American Indian.